Gold mining is all about taking chances and crazy risks. I will do whatever it takes to make something happen.
The dredge screamed like a wounded beast as it struck something hidden deep beneath the Yukon ice, and Emily Ryle felt her entire operation teeter on the edge of disaster. In ice mining, 1 month decides everything.
Mining, you have a month to make something work, and if it doesn't work, then you're screwed.
Then her sluice box erupted with gold, nuggets the size of golf balls, nearly $12 million in ancient treasure. Awe on her crew's faces slowly shifted to fear because this gold wasn't untouched. Others had found it before, and every one of them vanished without a trace.
Racing the ice. The story begins beneath 8 feet of crushing, impenetrable ice. Her dredge, the Eroica, was trapped. The metal groaned under the pressure, a sound that mirrored the knot of dread in Emily's stomach. A few weeks earlier, she was on track for a successful season, but an unprecedented cold snap had locked the river weeks ahead of schedule, sealing her season's work in a frozen prison. The most shocking fact is that a typical Alaskan gold dredge can cost upwards of $200,000 a season to run, and Emily was already deep in the red. Picture this. You're the only woman in charge of a major dredging operation in one of the most hostile environments on Earth.
Nothing short of absolute success in gold mining will justify me being here. I can't be average. I have to be something exceptional. Otherwise, nobody will take me seriously.
Your crew respects you, but they think you're pushing too hard. Your competitors, massive corporate outfits, want you out of the picture. And now you're betting everything you have left on a geological theory that every seasoned expert in the field says is completely impossible. That was Emily Rydell's reality on a bitter Monday morning in December. In her hands, she held the foreclosure papers that gave her precisely 3 business days to come up with $200,000 in outstanding loan payments. The bank representative, a woman named Margaret Chin, had delivered the ultimatum with a cold, bureaucratic precision that cut deeper than the Arctic wind. 3 business days, Ms. Riedel. Her voice had echoed over the crackling satellite phone. After that, we will be forced to seize all assets. That includes the vessel, all associated equipment, and your territorial mining rights. Emily's hands trembled, not from the biting cold, but from a surge of pure rage and utter desperation. She had clawed her way up over 5 years, building her operation from scratch, fighting tooth and nail to prove that a woman could not only survive but thrive in the most dangerous, male-dominated mining territory on the planet.
I have something to prove to Zeke. I have something to prove to everybody up here. I'm a woman who has no background in this business whatsoever.
Now, some faceless banker in a warm Anchorage office was about to snatch it all away because of weather patterns totally beyond her control. Behind her, the crunch of boots on frozen ground broke the silence. It was her dive tender, Jake Morrison, his face flushed with excitement. He was carrying thermal imaging equipment that had just arrived on the morning supply flight from Fairbanks. Emily? Jake's voice was electric, cutting straight through her despair. The deep current readings. You have to see this. Now. You see, what Jake had discovered beneath the Yukon's ice was about to change everything anyone thought they knew about placer mining in subarctic rivers. It was a long shot, a wild guess, but it was the only shot she had left. The thing nobody tells you about Emily Ryle is that her background wasn't in mining, it was in marine biology. This gave her a unique perspective, allowing her to see things about river systems that traditional miners, focused only on rock and gravel, consistently overlooked. While her competitors scraped away at shallow gravel bars and chased obvious, easy-to-reach gold deposits, Emily had spent years studying deep current patterns and the ghosts of prehistoric river channels, ancient waterways buried deep beneath the modern flow. Spreading the printouts across her small kitchen table, Jake pointed to a series of glowing lines. Look at these thermal signatures, he explained. The deep channel runs 40 feet below the current ice level. It's following an ancient riverbed that predates the last ice age by thousands of years. He paused, taking a deep breath. And here's the impossible part. The temperatures down there, they're actually warmer than the surface readings. The thermal imaging revealed geothermal activity, underground springs feeding the deep channel with water that remained just above freezing, even as the air temperature plummeted to minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit. The most shocking fact is that these geothermal vents could create microclimates on the riverbed, preventing the water from freezing solid and keeping the sediment loose. This was the core of Emily's crazy theory. This warmer, moving water, she believed, acted like a natural sluice box over millennia, concentrating heavy materials like gold. This changes everything. Her gamble might actually pay off. a glimmer of hope. What many overlooked was the sheer terrifying danger of what Emily was proposing. She was planning to do something that had taken the lives of even the most experienced commercial divers, ice diving. And not just for a quick look, but for a full-blown mining operation.
I'm gonna do a dive today. I'm just ready to put it past me and get down there and work. And if something happens, it happens.
Her crew thought she was planning a final desperate act. Ice diving? In December, her dredge operator Tommy Santos, a man with 20 years of experience in these waters, shook his head in disbelief. Emily, that water is cold enough to stop your heart in under 3 minutes, even with the best dry suits money can buy. You're talking about conditions that are beyond dangerous. They're a death sentence. Her engineer, Rachel Kim, a data-driven pragmatist, immediately pulled up statistics on her laptop that cast a grim shadow over the room. Arctic water diving has a fatality rate approaching 15%, and that's under controlled scientific conditions, Rachel stated flatly. You add heavy mining equipment, near-zero visibility, and 8 feet of shifting, crushing ice over your head, you're looking at survival odds that no sane person would take. But Emily wasn't just sane. She was driven by a powerful mix of desperation and conviction. To put it mildly, she was betting her life on her theory. Despite every rational argument against it, despite the obvious dangers that could harm her entire crew, Emily pushed forward. The next 48 hours were a frantic scramble. They acquired specialized ice diving gear from a bankrupt offshore oil exploration company, dry suits rated for prolonged Arctic exposure, a surface-supplied breathing apparatus known as a hookah system, and emergency ascent systems designed for deep-sea drilling operations.
Your shit makes me happy. I like being in control of things, but if you were really to have the right to run a dredge, you should be a diver. It's not something I should have to rely on people for. It's something that I should be able to do myself.
Modifying the Eroica for this insane plan required her crew to work around the clock, welding and fabricating in the brutal cold. They jury-rigged underwater lighting systems, built heated tool storage to keep equipment from freezing solid, and established an emergency surface communication line that could, they hoped, function through the thick sheet of ice. "This is completely nuts," Rachel muttered, her breath misting as she installed thermal monitoring equipment. "We are basically building a submarine mining operation with junkyard parts and a prayer." Their first test dive was nearly their last. Emily descended through a hole they painstakingly cut in the ice, plunging into water so cold it felt like liquid nitrogen burning against her suit. The visibility was a terrifying 3 feet, a swirling vortex of silt and ice crystals like an underwater blizzard. The deep channel, her promised land, lay 40 feet below the surface, a treacherous path between submerged boulders and jagged ice formations that could shift without warning. One wrong move, one snagged airline, and a diver could be trapped forever in an underwater maze with absolutely no chance of rescue. But then, at a depth of 38 feet, her headlamp illuminated something that made her forget the cold, the fear, and the crushing weight of the ice above. The ancient riverbed wasn't just gravel. It was lined with gold deposits so rich and dense they glowed in her lights like treasure spilled from a sunken galleon.
Yeah, that's a good color down here, you guys. I chose a good spot, yeah.
Hell yeah! Jake! Her voice, breathless and distorted, crackled through the communication system. "I'm looking at nuggets the size of chicken eggs. They're scattered across the bottom like someone spilled a jewelry box down here." Her first proper collection dive yielded a result that shattered every single expectation. In a single 40-minute underwater session, she brought up 47 ounces of gold. At current market prices, that was over $88,000. She wasn't just going to save her operation, she was on the verge of a historic discovery. The deep channel held concentrations that defied all modern mining logic, with some sections of the riverbed containing over 200 ounces of gold per cubic yard. This richness was orders of magnitude greater than what was found during the famous California gold rush. But a secret this big doesn't stay secret for long. Sabotage in the cold. Word of Emily's sudden success spread through the tight-knit gnome mining community faster than a wildfire. You see, when a small independent operation on the brink of failure suddenly starts paying off debts and buying high-tech gear, people notice. Her competitors, especially the corporate giants, started asking pointed questions about her mysterious new diving operations. But the real threat came from one company in particular, Bering Sea Mining Corporation, a ruthless multinational outfit with the resources to crush individual miners through legal warfare and aggressive claim jumping. Soon, their corporate scouts began conducting aerial reconnaissance flights over Emily's operation, their drones buzzing overhead like metallic vultures, documenting her unique equipment and techniques. Worse, they started burying her in legal challenges, filing bogus environmental complaints, claiming that her ice diving operations violated obscure federal safety regulations. They want us shut down before we can prove how rich this channel really is, Jake observed grimly, sorting through a pile of legal documents that had arrived by certified mail. Because once the world finds out what's really down there, every major corporation on the planet will flood this area with industrial-scale equipment and push us out for good. The psychological pressure was immense. Racing against bankruptcy was one thing. Conducting life-threatening dives while fighting a corporate giant was another. But then, something emerged from the deep channel that no one could have ever predicted. Alongside the gold, Emily started finding artifacts, carved tools from bone and stone, intricately worked metal implements, and strange devices that suggested organized mining activity from a prehistoric era. Someone else was working this channel, Emily whispered in awe one night, examining a set of fossilized implements that had been perfectly preserved in the oxygen-free conditions of the deep water. Someone who understood deep current mining thousands and thousands of years before any of us. This discovery elevated the situation to a whole new level. It attracted attention from universities, government agencies, and powerful institutions. Carbon dating was performed on the artifacts, and the results were mind-blowing. The oldest specimens were dated at over 6,000 years old, making them among the earliest evidence of systematic gold extraction ever found in North America. The most shocking fact was that the metallurgy on some pieces suggested a level of sophistication that shouldn't have existed for another 3,000 years. As the historical significance of her find grew, so did the danger. The corporate surveillance escalated from simple reconnaissance into active interference. Mysterious equipment failures started happening with suspicious frequency. Her communication system would malfunction during critical moments of a dive. The heating equipment, essential for survival, would fail in the life-threatening cold. "Someone is trying to shut us down for good," Rachel announced grimly after discovering clear sabotage damage to their primary air compressor. "This isn't just claim jumping anymore. Someone wants us gone before we can document what's really happening down there." The breakthrough moment came at 6:23 in the morning on a Thursday, during a dive where Emily pushed deeper into the channel than ever before. At 47 feet below the ice, her headlamp beam broke through the murky water and illuminated a massive underwater cavern. It was a place where prehistoric floods, over geological time, had concentrated gold deposits in a way that defied imagination. The cavern stretched far beyond the reach of her lights, its floor and walls glittering with compressed layers of gold-bearing material.
You got your confidence back. We like it.
I saw some gold. I was gonna see some gold down there.
Hell yeah.
It was the Mother Lode, and it was guarded by a mystery stretching back 6,000 years. Her greatest discovery was about to become her greatest test. Accessing the cavern's treasure trove required a whole new level of risk. The water temperature inside dropped to near freezing, pushing her dry suit and equipment to their absolute limits. In these tight, submerged chambers, any equipment failure meant a certain, lonely end. A structural collapse could entomb a diver permanently in an underwater tomb beneath tons of rock and ice. "I'm looking at walls lined with gold veins that run through solid bedrock," Emily reported back to her stunned crew, her voice filled with a mixture of terror and triumph. "It's like someone painted lightning bolts across the rock with molten treasure." The extraction process was grueling. They used hydraulic suction systems operated from the surface while Emily worked 40 feet underwater, often in visibility so poor she was working by feel alone.